Okay, it is 7:30 a.m. on Sunday, July 30th, 2023. I'm about to begin my second podcast for Spirit 432. So my original intention this month was to hopefully have my first guest on, and I'm still working that out, but I am going to try to set this up so we have podcasts. I'm hoping at least once a quarter, maybe once a month. So that's going to kind of be how this will hopefully go. But the goal is to bring people on in the future who have had a loss and how they have experienced that loss and what they have done to navigate the journey through grief. So hopefully that will transpire. But it does take some time, and like anything, consistency, dedication, discipline, that will yield hopefully the results that we're looking for here. So I'm going to take a little different approach with today's podcast. And I'm going to talk about something kind of in general. It's just going to deal with the endings of things. And it seems fitting based on the fact that death is an ending, obviously. It's interesting, though, to me. I've seen a lot lately, like where there's been the end of a cycle or people have made these transitions, and it seems to be happening all around me. And I know myself, I recently had something that sort of a major door that's something that's been really nagging and really difficult the last couple of years just kind of closed. And it seems like the universe, as I've seen before, and as was the case here, the universe pretty much just closed the door for me and removed the evil from life. And when these things happen, there is a difference. It's done so perfectly, and it's done in such a way that when the ending occurs, it just completely stops. And you feel a sense of calm, you feel a sense of peace, and there's nothing you can do to start it up again. The universe just ends it. And whether it's an event, a person, a place, a thing, the universe just takes that and just stops it and removes it from your life. And the trick is to then take that lesson and use it to propel yourself forward and to let new things come in. And this is what's interesting to me here is when you let new things come in and you have gratitude, you're grateful, you're thankful, you appreciate the world around you, appreciate what you have, and you stop focusing on the loss, all of a sudden your life begins to fill with new things that are meant to be in your life. And suddenly you completely change your mindset. You change your attitude. You change the way you look at things, how you feel about them. And I think that as time goes on, and one thing I've noticed, I was looking at my app the other day, it's over 1,550 days that I've gone without a drop of alcohol. That was something that's really changed my whole psyche, my whole way of being. The more you have instances like this where a door closes and the universe, closes that for you or says, okay, this is enough, I'm going to remove this from your life, and then throws away the key. Like I just picture it like a big wooden door that just slams shut, and then the key just trickles down into a crack or a crevice that goes way down into the earth. And when that happens, it does get easier over time. You get to a point where you know that everything's going to work out, but you have to make room for new things to come in. And it was interesting to me because it wasn't like major life changes. I usually like to have the results immediately, and I didn't notice huge major life changes in the last month, but what I did notice was there was a whole world of people and things and items requiring my attention, and it was just there were some other things I had to wrap up, and we worked hard to get them wrapped up over the weekend, just because that way we can fully start new and focus on this new chapter. There aren't these things from the past lingering and kind of holding on, and it's just like when you're trying to run away from something and you run into almost like a a rose bush that's got thorns, when you're trying to get away from it, and the thorns just grab onto your clothing and they cling onto you, and you've got these roses on a rose bush that has thorns. You've got this beautiful thing that you're admiring from a distance that's so attractive, but yet you have to get away from it. You're allergic to the rose smell, or you have to get away from it. There's bees flying around, whatever it is, and then you're trying to get away from it, and then the thorns just kind of grab onto you. They grab onto your clothing, and you can't quite get away. You have to sit there and carefully release the thorns from your clothing so you can make a clean break. That's kind of how I look at these things, and it just seems like before it was like you'd sit there and you'd linger too long. I would anyway. And now I don't do that so much. I realize that there's life past whatever it is that's ending and whatever it is that I'm going through. And I know that I have to leave that right there. And with this most recent interaction that I've had, it was very difficult kind of at the beginning. Felt like I was never going to be normal again. Even though it was an easy thing to kind of let go of, and I was able to do that, there still was, there's always going to be something psychologically, mentally that's going on when you have a loss, or when something ends, or when the universe ends something. There's always something there. That's just the human aspect of it. But it was interesting because I let it go, and I didn't have an attitude. I wasn't nasty about it. It was nothing like that, but I let it go. And then as time went on, I just kind of started to ignore the person causing the problems, the situation. I let it go, and I don't have this strong desire. The work was that I'm referring to for this project. It was a project that I've been working on the last year, almost 2 years. The project that I was working on, it became so overwhelming and so involved, and people were taking so much of my time, advantage of my time. And the way it was just kind of like we were just sort of dropped, it just made it okay to let it go. And I'm not sitting here going, oh, I'm heartbroken over this work, that I can't, do this anymore for this project. I'm just glad the project is gone, and I'm looking forward to the new project, and I'm looking forward to the new people I'm going to meet that are going to be people that I will be able to collaborate on and make even bigger results. I did it once. I know I'm going to be able to do it again, and I'm hoping to do it on a much larger level. And you also have to look at things like, you're supposed to be... I still think there's a big part of the things that we do in life, especially as we get older, where you are meant to help people. And it's not always a matter of, I'm just going to do this for myself or for my own goals. You should be helping a greater amount of people. And when you get to a point where you're not doing that, I think that's when the universe steps in and says, okay, this maybe isn't proper anymore. It's not... you kind of went off the path a little bit here. You were meant to have this experience, but there's timelines in that. And then you just kind of let those things go, and then you move on to the next timeline. And just a couple other interesting aspects, some things I've learned in the last month. I've been getting more into spirituality, watching more items. I actually took a course on mediumship development, which I know that the messages, the signs you've received from the other side, that's a big part of mediumship development. So, it seems like some of that we're really further along. We're a little further along. When we wrote the book, we were at one level, but that was all part of that development. And it's just a matter of kind of fine-tuning those skills, much like you'd fine-tune a guitar. But I've been taking a lot of these videos in and the information from these videos, and it's been very interesting. All these things that I've been curious about for years and that I thought were going on beneath the surface, and that they really are going on. And there is a lot of things that I've experienced that I can hear somebody talk about it, and I've lived through it, so I know that there's something to that. But it has been helpful. And just a few things I'm going to kind of close with here for this cast. I know this was a little bit short today, but in addition to the endings and then being grateful and letting things go, past that is the element of connecting to your higher self and connecting to your greatest abilities, connecting to who you're supposed to be in the future, and looking forward, looking past the good things that could be great, or the bad things that actually could be worse, or the things that just need to leave your life. Look past those things and deal with what you need to deal with, and sit with things and let them not take over your life, but let them resonate with you for a period of time. Feel them. Try to schedule it if you can. Feel what you need to feel, but then sort of put that in a box. Put it, a mental box. Imagine a box, or a boat, and just set those feelings out to sea. Imagine them being carried off, and then imagine that energy just sort of going into the water and just kind of disappearing. Or in the case of negative people, for example, some awful things I could tell you about some of the people that I've had to horrible experiences I had during the month of June in particular, with just a few people, awful people. Take that energy and just release it back into the earth. It'll go underground, it'll finalize, and then it'll make its way back to the original source of the problem and the issue. And let that just work itself out. Send it back. It'll go back to the rightful person. And that way, whatever energy they've sent out to you, just let that be temporary. Send it back. Return it to that person. And then let the universe take care of it. That really is your best advocate, is the universe. Your best friend, in a sense, is the universe. And then when you let that go, you release that energy, that negativity, those people, those things that brought you such gratification. When you release all that, you make room for things that are meant to be in your life, and your life will fill up. I can't believe the new things. And some of the things that have been sort of dormant have come back. I just can't believe the things that have come back in the last month because I let go of what I had to let go of. And in a surreal way, people even more so had other major changes, even more major than what I went through. This is just something that, something that's been going on a while, that just kind of, it was a project I was working on that needed to end. It had run its course. We had a lot of success, but it was time to move on. I learned everything I could, and it just was no longer serving me, and it was no longer serving the greatest good of people. But I've seen other people in the last month, same thing, end of cycles, new transitions, new beginnings, and I've sort of taken that energy and tried to embrace it and learn everything I could, not just from my own experience, but from those around. So, a little bit of a different podcast today, but something that is very fitting, especially because we do focus on death and endings, but we also focus on the journey of grief and healing. And regardless of what the type of loss is, if something that was said helps you in some way, shape, or form, regardless of what it is that you're going through. It doesn't even have to be a death or a loss. It could just be a bad day. If something was said in this brief podcast that helps you in some way get through your day, or in resonates with you, so that in a week or two, or a couple weeks, or a month, it pops into your head something that was said, that's ultimately what we're going for in general. So this is Patty Bruner from Spirit 432, signing off for the day with our second podcast here. We invite you to check out Northeast Beachside Creations and Spirit 432 LLC. Purchase our book on Amazon, Uncorked Messages. We also have information on our Facebook page, our website, northeastbeachsidecreations.com. We're on Twitter. Check us out on YouTube. This video will be uploaded very soon. And I do send positive messages from Spirit. Let Spirit guide the way, and I can't wait to hear what future messages Spirit has in store for you and I. So stay tuned for more, and enjoy this beautiful day.